We, humans, don't just differ from other species. We're also different from one another. Despite there are over 8 billion people living on this planet, each person has an entirely unique face, and odies, too, are incredibly diverse. This means that we are all unique. Yet and still, there are some people who are especially extraordinary or more unique than the others. From extra body parts to extreme obsessions, these are the 15 most unique people that are 1 in a billion. Number 15. Amy Elizabeth. Luxury isn't always what you think. Amy Elizabeth, a self-made millionaire, could afford champagne brunches and designer handbags, but instead she buys cat food in bulk, for herself, not to save her pets, but her wallet. Living in Las Vegas, Amy built her fortune through strict saving habits and extreme frugality. No restaurants, no salons, and not even toilet paper that isn't single-ply. But what truly stuns people? Her regular dinner of canned cat food, which she claims is cheap, high in protein, and surprisingly tasty. To her, wealth is freedom, not fancy clothes or lavish living. She avoids credit cards, tracks every cent, and still lives in a modest home with practically no spending. Her friends and even strangers often ask, "Why live like this when you have so much?" Amy smiles and replies, "Because I want to stay rich." Her lifestyle is controversial, bizarre, and unapologetically hers, and it's worked. Her bank account proves it. Number 14. Millie. Now, what if you get told that you are 1 in a million? Well, it sounds good, but ask Millie. She'll tell you it's not all sunshine. Born with cystinosis, a rare genetic condition that impacts the kidneys, eyes, and bones, Millie's life was never simple. Tube-fed from age 1 to 18, her growth was stunted, her body was fragile, and her spirit took hits early. She's only 4 feet 7 inches, and that alone invited stares and shame. But Millie didn't crumble. She found her weapon, makeup. It became more than art. It was therapy, armor, self-worth. Now, she's launching her own brand, Human Beauty, with one goal: to make makeup accessible for everyone, no matter their body, health, or size. She says she's learned so much about her condition, she sometimes teaches her own doctors. Today, she's not just surviving, she's creating, advocating, and empowering others like her to rewrite what beauty means. And to be honest, she's doing it beautifully. Number 13. Barnard. Well, this was a 9-year-old story of Megan. So, as of now, we know nothing about where she is or how she's doing. But back then, she carried a secret on her leg and a storm in her chest. Lymphedema made her legs swell dramatically, and shame kept her silent. She wore baggy pants, skipped every skirt, dodged mirrors, and buried herself under years of humiliation. Kids called her the Michelin Man. Even her boyfriend of 2 years had no idea what she was hiding. That kind of fear doesn't just sting, it erodes your sense of self. But Megan eventually snapped. Not in anger, but in courage. She took photos, went public, and decided she was done being invisible. She wanted other girls like her to breathe again. Her leg didn't shrink, but the fear, that did. She faced it. And in doing so, she gave others the oxygen to step into their truth. Number 12. Kimberelle Eventide. Kimberelle doesn't just dress like an elf, she believes she is one. With long, silvery hair, delicate pointed ears, and deep cosmic eyes, she's created an identity rooted in a world far beyond Earth. Kim feels connected to the Pleiadians, an alien race some believe are beings of light and wisdom. She claims to receive energy from stars, channels messages from higher dimensions, and lives her life following a mix of Nordic elf tradition and celestial spirituality. Her daily rituals include forest meditation, crystal healing, and singing in a language she says isn't of this planet. To many, she's delusional or eccentric. But to her growing community of followers, Kim is a guide to something forgotten: beauty, harmony, and otherworldly peace. She's not interested in proving anything. She walks barefoot, eats plants, and lives in quiet harmony with nature. In a noisy world obsessed with realism, Kim is unapologetically magical and utterly serene. Number 11. Chloe Jennings-White. We all pray for good health, but believe it or not, this lady didn't want anything like that. In fact, she wanted to live as if her legs didn't work at all. Chloe, from Salt Lake City, lives with body integrity identity disorder, a condition where people feel like part of their body doesn't belong to them. For Chloe, it was her legs. She longed to be paraplegic. In 2013, at 58 years old, she finally got a wheelchair and said she felt full, finally at peace. This wasn't attention-seeking. It was deeper. For years, she hid the desire, suffering silently. BIID is misunderstood, often mocked or dismissed, but she didn't flinch. She chose to live authentically, even if that meant living in a chair. As of 2025, there's no update on her whereabouts. But her story still lingers, forcing people to ask where identity ends and the body begins, and what happens when they don't match. Number 10. Mitsuo Matayoshi. Mitsuo wasn't just eccentric, he was relentless. In Japan, he's known as Matayoshi Jesus, a man who claimed to be the second coming of Christ and ran for prime minister. Not once, but again and again, with full belief he'd bring divine justice through politics. He formed the World Economic Community Party and preached his gospel in campaign speeches. Most dismissed him as bizarre, but Matayoshi never flinched. He painted with his feet. He used his own blood in his artwork. He filled galleries with weird, intense pieces that sparked just as much controversy as his sermons. His beliefs merged bits of Christianity, Buddhism, and Japanese folklore, creating something no one could quite define. People either laughed or stared in disbelief, but no one ignored him. Whether you saw a prophet, a rebel, or a man totally off the rails, Mitsuo forced people to confront their ideas of normal. He didn't just live outside the box, he stomped on it. Number 9. Jessica Manning. Well, this woman is a living example of what the human body can survive and what the human heart can endure. Jessica Manning from New Zealand was born with 6 different heart defects. By age 3, she'd already undergone 2 open-heart surgeries. Doctors didn't expect her to live long, but Jessica had other plans. Over 200 surgeries later, including a heart and liver transplant at 25, she's still here, stronger, louder, and more open than ever. Her chest and stomach are covered in scars, and she proudly calls them her trophies. She even donated her original heart and liver to medical research, and now keeps her old heart in a jar at home. She jokes that it looks like cookie dough, but make no mistake, Jessica's story is raw and real. Through TikTok, she shares every part of it, the fear, the recovery, the survival. And in doing so, she educates millions on the value of organ donation and the wild strength of one beating heart. Number 8. Billy Owen. Billy used to fix motorcycles for a living. A hands-on guy, proud of his work, proud of his life. Then the headaches started, then the breathing trouble. By the time doctors figured it out, they told him he had a rare sinus cancer, and that surviving meant removing part of his face, including his right eye. He had a 10% chance. 10. But he made it. When he couldn't return to mechanic work, he leaned into the very thing that nearly destroyed him. He stepped into horror roles, zombies, monsters, villains, turning his altered appearance into something powerful. He's been in music videos, films, and haunted houses. People gasp when they see him. But more than that, they listen. He speaks openly about his story, about grief, survival, and finding new purpose. From the Venice Beach Freak Show to national stages, Billy turned tragedy into art. Number 7. Lauren. Well, now this is something weird. For Lauren, identity isn't just about gender, style, or politics. It's about species. In college, she realized she felt more like a fox than a human. And instead of ignoring it, she embraced it fully. She wears a custom-made tail, paws, and a full furry fox suit during parts of her daily life. She doesn't pretend to be a literal animal, but says the fox reflects who she truly is: shy, curious, playful, and fiercely independent. While she attends classes and studies like any other student, she often retreats into nature, crawling, sniffing, and moving like a fox. Her room is decorated with burrow-style comfort and natural elements, and her best moments are when she's surrounded by other Therians who also identify with animals. Lauren doesn't want to escape reality. She just wants to live in it more authentically. People mock what they don't understand, she says, but she's found peace in her paws. What do you think about her? Number 6. B. Melvin. Some faces don't ask for attention. They demand it. B is one of those faces. Born in Gambia, her deep skin is framed by silver hair and pale gray eyes. No contacts, no dye, just genetics playing a beautiful trick on everyone's expectations. When her photos went viral, the internet didn't know what to believe. People accused her of editing, lying, and pretending. B said nothing. Her silence was louder than any reply. While the world debated her authenticity, she built a modeling career out of mystery. No explanations, no interviews, just presence. And that presence? Unforgettable. In an industry obsessed with symmetry, B brought contrast. In a world full of questions, she gave no answers, only impact. She let her look speak for itself, and it did. It shattered the mold and built her a lane all her own. B didn't need to explain her uniqueness. Number 5. The Eyeborg. Rob Spence didn't just lose an eye, he rewired the rules of what's possible. After a childhood accident took his right eye, he didn't settle for a prosthetic. Instead, he built a camera, a real working camera. It's red, fitted with a lens, powered by a remote, and even has a built-in LED for low-light shooting. They call it the Eyeborg Project, but to Rob, it's personal. It lets him film from his own perspective, a literal first-person view no traditional camera could ever match. As a filmmaker, it became his signature. But more than that, his creation blurred the line between man and machine. He doesn't see out of it, it doesn't restore vision, but it does something else. It turns loss into expression. His story sparks something deeper, about identity, technology, and what it means to augment the human body not just to survive, but to create. Rob didn't just replace what was lost. He transformed it into something unforgettable. Okay. Now, let's move to number 4. Abigail and Brittany Hensel. Some stories leave you speechless, and Abigail and Brittany Hensel live one of them. They are conjoined twins, two brilliant minds sharing one body. From childhood, they've lived in perfect unison, navigating life with 4 arms, 2 legs, and endless curiosity. Each controls one side of their body. Walking, running, and driving take full coordination and trust. But they don't just function, they flourish. Teachers, college graduates, and now living private lives, they've always refused to be defined by their condition. Media once followed them everywhere, fascinated by how they live. But Abigail and Brittany made one thing clear. They're not a spectacle. They're 2 individuals with different dreams, voices, and goals, in one shared vessel. What they've mastered isn't just movement, it's harmony, mutual respect, patience, and teamwork down to the smallest breath. It's not about being conjoined, it's about being connected. Abigail and Brittany aren't medical marvels. They're living proof that unity can exist in the most extraordinary forms. Number 3. Tim Cannon. Tim treats his own body the way most people treat a workbench, something to build on, experiment with, and turn into a possibility. As the founder of Grindhouse Wetware, he's become one of the leading voices in biohacking, openly merging skin and circuitry. His name first hit headlines in 2013 when he implanted a device called Circadia 1.0 into his arm. It tracked his temperature and sent the readings straight to his phone. That was only the beginning. Since then, Tim has pushed the limits further, designing implants that sense magnetic fields, detect hidden electronics, and blur the line between instinct and technology. He encourages an open-source community where anyone curious enough can explore human augmentation. Of course, his experiments draw criticism. Some call him reckless, others call him revolutionary. But Tim isn't trying to shock the world. He's trying to reimagine it. For him, it's all normal. Number 2. Kate Hashimoto. New York City is one of the most expensive places on earth, but Kate has figured out how to live there on just $200 a month. No, that's not a typo. She doesn't buy furniture, sleeps on yoga mats, avoids heating, and picks up discarded food from grocery bins. No shame, no guilt, just pure commitment to minimalism. A certified accountant, Kate earns a decent salary, but picks to spend almost nothing. She says owning less brings peace. Friends have tried convincing her to splurge a little, but Kate shrugs. For her, it's not deprivation, it's freedom. She washes her clothes in the shower, refuses to buy toilet paper, and hasn't paid for fun in years. Some call it extreme, others call it genius. Kate calls it smart. In a culture hooked on excess, her lifestyle is a bold rejection, and a reminder that enough is a choice. As of now, we don't know where or how she is. Number 1. Zayvade and Zachary Johnson. Zayvade and Zachary Johnson are twin brothers who completely destroy every cliché about how twins are supposed to look. Born to 2 black parents, Zachary has dark skin and dark curls. But Zayvade, snow-white skin, blonde hair, and eyebrows so light they almost disappear. Their contrast is so extreme, strangers constantly stop their mom, Dorian, just to ask, sometimes accuse, if Zachary was adopted. It hurts every time, she admits. She dreads public outings because of the staring, the whispers, the questions. She's exhausted, not from being a mom to twins, but from being forced to explain their very existence. Underneath, the boys are typical toddlers, silly, wild, inseparable. But to the world, they've become a spectacle. Dorian's message is simple. Stop judging what you don't understand. Her boys are not an accident. They're not some mistake in genetics. They're a reminder that biology has no rule book, and that beauty, family, and love don't always come in matching shades. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.